Hey, Momentum family. Seth and I just wanted to kind of give you an update on our gathering plan as a church. Last week, when we sent the email out about January 3rd, we said we'd be gathering this week, kind of make some decisions maybe for a further time period. And so we've worked hard, prayed, talked, discussed, learned, and tried to make some good decisions. So as we make decisions, we're looking at the following three metrics. The first one is health. I mean, what's just the health of our own church body? What's the health of our community and local communities? Right. The second thing is capability. What is our ability to have live gatherings, to pull them off, to do them well? And the third thing is outside guidelines. So what I mean is local or state guidelines for churches or large groups. Are there any of those in place at this time? Well, right now, the reality, there's not hardly any outside guidelines for our state or that we may have seen like we saw back at the beginning of COVID. Right now, the only guidelines we know of in any of our communities is that January 4th, the mayor of McDonough signed a declaration of emergency order. And his basically just had a couple things, but two of those that would affect us would be citizens are urged to wear masks and maintain social distancing. But he strongly encouraged to avoid gatherings of any size of persons not living in their own households. But again, still restaurants are open. So there's not been a lot of outside guidelines. So really we have to focus on health and capability. But I just want you to be reminded of our goal. Our goal in this is how can we best just create unity for our church? How can we unite our body the best way we can in this season? How can we serve our church family and how can we serve our community? Because those are the things. Jesus prayed for unity. These are the things that Jesus did. He prayed for unity and he came to serve. And we're called to do both. And so we want to step into those.
Right. So really, I mean, when Bart talks about the outside guidelines, we don't have a lot of those right now. There's not a lot of restrictions. So then it goes to those next two categories, health and capability. So just to update you where we're at on those two things, I mean, the reality right now, when we talk capability, the fact is we have several staff families right now alone dealing with COVID positive test cases, COVID exposures, all those things. So they're in quarantine. We have the same thing extending out into volunteers and their families. So we have a lot of people out right now on top of people who were great, faithful servants, but for a myriad of reasons have decided they can't do the in-person gathering right now because they're the primary caretaker of an older parent or they have a child with significant needs that compromise immune system, things like that. So we're kind of playing with a short deck already. Yeah. So capability for us, when we start to have more and more staff exposures, that's a big deal. And when it carries out into our volunteers who really are the lifeblood of the church, that is a significant impact for us. So capability, we're feeling that right now, just the ability, can we pull off a Sunday gathering, even if we wanted to? And then the next thing is health. And when I get into health, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to try to do all those things. That's right. But I will tell you this, is that we've tried to be very good about following some significant metrics. So meaning we're not just picking things out of the air. We're not just saying, hey, let's meet this week and let's not. Like I just kind of want to let you into the mindset of how we're making some of these decisions. So we've said outside guidelines, we've said capability. And when I say health can feel nebulous. Are we feeling okay? Are we not? Are people sick? Like, what does that really mean? So we've been following several epidemiologists online, and some of the significant factors they instruct churches specifically to look at are what are positivity rates within your community, what is ICU capacity in your community, and what are the new cases per 100,000 people in your community. And they all have a myriad of just different parameters of you should be within this. But here's what I can say. Positivity rates, they all suggest being around 10% or less, because if you're above 10%, that's when you have rampant spread right now. Right now, as of today, in Henry County, we're at 27%, and in Monroe County, we're at 20%. So that is more than double of what everybody's saying right now is for a contained spread. So we're kind of in the wildfire measures of it all right now. Our ICU in our counties right now is at about 92%, which is massive. 92% capacity.
Both Monroe and Henry?
Both Monroe and Henry County are massive. What they're suggesting is being around 75. So we're pushing the limits of our full-on ICU capacity. I can just even speak firsthand experience of just my wife being at Piedmont Henry. Their ICU is tapped right now. They're full. I know the same thing is existing down at Navicent, down in Macon. So that's a big thing we're trying to walk through right now. And then new cases, we're blowing up like crazy, and we're way outside of all the suggested guidelines on that. So those are the things that we're looking at. We're not just going by the whim of how we feel, but we truly are looking at what are the new guidelines? Can we pull off a Sunday just with the staff and volunteers we have? And where are we at on the spectrum? Are things dying down? Kind of like they were when we went back to in-person gatherings in July, August, September. It was down, but there's no doubt it's ramping right now.
Yeah. As I know, a lot of you can probably feel this as you have to make, in this season, there can be kind of decision fatigue.
Yeah.
Like all we feel like we're doing is making decisions, and none of them feel like they're right or wrong. It's simply the best decision. And so that's another parameter for us, just what's the best decision we can make. But we also didn't want to get into just another week to week because it becomes decision fatigue, and it's hard for your staff and volunteers and scheduling of people to be ready for that. And so we wanted to kind of look at, can we make a plan that's even beyond just 1 week? So that's what we've kind of tried to decide to do. So for sure, here's what we're going to do. The next 2 weeks, we're going to go fully online. So these next 2 coming Sundays are going to be fully online. So that is January 10th and January 17th. And we'll be online. Then our plan is on January 24th to move to an in-person gathering and still our online. So the combo option there. And we would do that then through February and reevaluate at the end of February. So you're saying, well, what's, because we think that's going to look different than what we kind of even have been. So we want to put in place some health protocols that we didn't have, and we want to step up some of the current protocols that we've been in. And so that January 24th through the end of February, we'll have all the details coming. We have them. We just want to overload those with those right now, but add gatherings so that we can have less seats. We really will depend on RSVPs. Again, if you forget or if you have a guest, we'll never turn you away for that. But at least give us a little more idea of who can be spread apart a little bit more, really social distance. We're going to limit our band size at each campus according to the stage and how many people, because even one that's just size, but also just we've got people out. And so we can pull from our core to have enough to do that. We'll get back to some of the regular cleaning. We were doing regular cleaning, but even cleaning in between gatherings and wiping down. Our staff and volunteers will continue to wear masks, and we would encourage that you wear a mask during this season, as it is amped up in ways we've never seen. It's bigger than we ever dealt with even when we were back in the beginning of this and online for months. And so, and then kind of on a capability thing, if at any point during this while we're live, we don't have the volunteers to pull off children's ministry, we might have to say no children's ministry for a weekend. We hope not. But we are that's the capability part of that. And so that's the plan right now. You'll get a lot more detail in the next 2 weeks as we get closer to that 24th of what that's going to look like, times, how that's all going to play out. But here's what I would say. If you're coming right now, you're comfortable coming. And so in 2 weeks, you're going to be right back when we're here. Great. We're excited about that. We're looking forward to that. But if you're here and you're not serving in any way, here's what I say is we need your help. Our capability is often due to just a shortage of volunteers and a shortage of leaders. Many core volunteers are not comfortable serving, and many of them were ready to come back here in January, but because of the uptick in all of this, they're like, no, I'm going to take a little bit longer, and we understand that. But we need the people who are comfortable, who are attending, to be serving, children's, frontline, tech, and music team. Maybe that's something you would do for this season, or maybe it's something you'd actually find a place to serve long term. But I'm just asking you, would you let us know and say, hey, I could be available for somewhere? And then Moxie's got a great plan. I know some of you have already seen, Chad's already put out a video on some of that, but we have a delayed start of Moxie to January 20th, that Wednesday night. If school is not meeting, then they'll meet in person, but just go straight to life groups. So they'll stay in those small group huddles, okay? They will not do the large group. But once school meets back in person, Moxie will return to large group and small group. And I know there's a lot more details there. I don't have to give you all those, but those are coming out for you as parents.
I just want to ask something of you. I would say in the midst of all this, I know we have people on all sides of this, all kinds of different opinions, all kinds of different facts. The one thing I would say is that we cannot allow the difficult of this season to be a thing that becomes a point of divisiveness among us. And we're the people of God. That's the thing that's supposed to unite us. Yet we're finding where that is just a very small thread. And what's happening is we're tribalizing in, we're pro-mask and we're anti-mask and we're this and we're that. And it becomes these points of conflict, and it is literally dividing the church. Not just Momentum. We're seeing it across like pastor friends all over. It's happening everywhere. I just want to say, let's unite around this. Let's do this thing together. There's enough divisiveness in our world right now. What our world really needs to see is a united church. Ed Stetzer, who's a great leader, great mind, great thinker, author. Barton, I've had chances to be in very personal conversations with him about church planning. But Ed Stetzer says a divided world needs a united church. And how true is that? That's exactly what we need right now. Yeah. That doesn't mean we're all going to agree on every little thing, but we're doing our best with the information we have. We're trying to make wise decisions. We're not just picking things out of the blue. We're trying to walk through something systematically. So we're trying to take a stance of being careful and being wise, but not just for our sake. We want to seek the welfare of our city. We care about our city. We care about our neighbors. We want to love people well. Yes. So it's not just a matter of, well, I feel comfortable and I'm going to go into the building and we should just open up. It's a matter of, what does it look like in our community right now? Does this offer an opportunity for us to be a good neighbor? Is this a way for us to love our neighbors right now? Is maybe sometimes the best way is just to allow things to calm down and move away from the personal in-person gathering and shift online for a little bit to allow those numbers to come back down.
Yeah. It's just offering grace.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been offered grace beyond measure. Can we offer grace to others, to people who have to make decisions, to all that? And so now we go. And I know that sounds weird. That's the mission, right? To go.
Right.
But I know the question is, how do we still go in the midst of a pandemic? We can. There's still got to find ways to be connected. Again, the scripture talks about let us continue to meeting together. There's a huge individual emphasis on that. It's not just even the broad church as an institution. So what does that look like? And here, the internet can be a powerful tool for the gospel. That Jesus came when Rome was uniting the world like never before. God knew that. I mean, like, you think of infrastructure, you think of roads, you think of one language. There was an opportunity that when Jesus came that this could spread like never before. Well, we have an opportunity like never before. The internet, the tools of that. And so I want to challenge you, rather than complain, rather than speak negativity, what if we were just to blow up the internet with the gospel? Use FaceTime, social media accounts, Instagram, text, Twitter, email to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, to reach out to other people. What if we don't speak a word in written form or through our mouth that is not building up other believers, that is not honoring Jesus, or that is not sharing the grace of Jesus to those who need to hear it? So what if we use these incredible tools at our fingertips to really take the gospel to our neighbors, our friends, our communities in the world? So here's what I'd say. If the Holy Spirit brings a name to your mind, reach out to them, encourage them, pray for them, ask them, what can you do for them? Because really nothing can separate us from the love of Christ, and nothing can separate us from each other. We love you all. I also want to say thank you, because I know so many of you are praying for us, and you've checked in on us. It's been a difficult, hard season, but I'm thankful for staff. I'm thankful for elders. I'm thankful for so many of you that have thought to send an encouraging word, to write an email, to pray. It means more than you know. We are in this together. Let us be united and let us serve one another. We love you, Momentum.